Hello, Cruel World. This is a Cruel World presentation, live from Porto. Are we on?
We should be on.
So there's a bit of a delay before we see anybody comment on being here, but please.
Jason says hi, Craig says hi, and Tony, which is spent, says evening all.
Okay. Hi.
Yeah, oh no, actually there is a delay. So let's see. Pops up. Yeah.
Okay, evening all. As Spant says in Liverpool. Hello, Cruel World. Welcome to live stream number 3. And this is going to be the bitter and twisted, lonely, desperate, war-inspired version. None of that namby-pamby happy stuff. Although perhaps we can start with a reasonably optimistic tune. So all the songs I'm going to be playing tonight are all going to be different songs to the first 2 streams, and they're all going to be played on this guitar, 6-string, which I never do, which is why I'm doing it. And I'm also playing songs that I don't know, because that seems like a more of a challenge, instead of zooming my way through the 12-string and a whole lot of tunes that I know. So we'll see what happens. If there's any train wrecks, please don't worry, there'll be a nurse on hand, and any injuries, we can helicopter you straight to the local infirmary. So, here we go. Unbelievable time I would rush to find, even if I thought that it might threaten me. 1,000 things to do, to follow them all through, things to learn and see, and they will better me. Well, I would rush to find, thumping heart banging in my mind. It's so easy to fly if you try. If you try, she's king. She's king. A throne of violent blue, nothing to see through, distant eyes to guide and to enlighten me. And to all our pain, an hour through her heart, nothing there, at least though it encouraged me. I would rush to find, pumping hard, banging in my mind. It's so easy to fly if you try, if you try. She's king, she's king. Unbelievable time I would rush to find, even if I thought that it might threaten me. I would rush to find. Thumping hard, banging in my mind. It's so easy to fly. If you try, if you try. That's the happiness over and done with. Hey there, what's your name? Hey there, please explain. Well, I don't have a television or a telephone, 'cause I need to spend my life alone. Sometimes I go walking out to catch a little air. You probably have seen me here and there. Hey there, what's your name? Hey there, please explain. Well, I went down to Amsterdam to see what I could find, but there wasn't much to leave behind. I packed some clothes and took some books to have something to read. There wasn't really much else I would need. Hey there, what's your name? Hey there, please explain. Hey there, hey there, hey there, hey there. A 1,000 soldiers died upon the battlefield. Every single one I knew by name. And if all of them were buried, they would touch the clouds. And as years go by, we never heal the pain. I found a broken medal with a Latin bar. Something about glory and of God, and you could hear the wounded crying as the bombs came down. Only blood and ruin where we trod. So if you can, back down, but you love your friends, you might want to way to bring the killing to an end, to an end. 'Cause the sisters losing brothers on every street, And somebody just has to break the chain. And if you can feel the agony of your enemy, then you'll know your fruitless journey is the same. And behind all of your teachings is an innocent, a face that isn't tarnished and awake. And if every generation passes hatred on, then there won't be anybody left to hate. So if you can, back down, but you love your friends, you might want to find a way to bring the killing to an end. So if you can, back down, but you love your friends, you might want to find a way to bring the killing to an end, to an end. To an end.
Sounding good.
Thank you, everybody. That's from a Nocturum record. I think it's the first one, Sparks Lane, which, as you know, was named after a street on the Wirral, close to where I lived. Apparently they call it Wirral now. In the 70s it was called the Wirral. Now it's called Wirral. Very strange. Americans can't say it. They just say, wow. But Americans can't say squirrel either. They say, wow. Little bit of levity in between the wars. There's a couple of songs I want to play tonight. One's one I haven't ever played before, even recorded. And a couple of other interesting ones. But let's just go straight into sea shanties, okay? This is a song dedicated to everybody who drowned. It's called Wreck. There's a twisted piece of jagged metal, a broken shoe and a rusting kettle, a bed of sand in which to lie, a clear blue sea in which to die. And as your breath slips from your lung, there's no more words on your swollen tongue. As fishes pick your melting flesh, living on your recent death. Dawn had promised you your dreams, and mention not your unheard screams. You set your course in your sky blue boat. You couldn't guess you wouldn't float, but who could sing such pretty craft? You jeered and rolled and shrugged and laughed. How vicious can a colored reef bear its sharp and yellow teeth to be beautiful a day to die, too memorable to be forgotten, a sea of tears to wave goodbye, a silent wreck to haunt the bottom. Ripples whimper on the surface, jellyfish, transparent purses, their sting the strength of hoarded gold. The gifts they buy remain unsold, so what's the worth of the dead's desires when waterlogged are life's cold fires, with seaweed hair and barnacle bones in a powerless court on a seashell throne. Back on land, your loved ones wait for news that saunters in too late. Their salty tears mix with the sea as they wait for all eternity. And later on, that is recovered, a defiant ring that graced your lover. But to the sea, now he is wed in a ceremony of the dead. Too beautiful a day to die, memorable to be forgotten, a sea of tears to wave goodbye, a silent wreck to haunt the bottom. Too beautiful a day to die, memorable to be forgotten, a sea of tears to wave goodbye, a silent wreck to haunt the bottom. The Seeing Stars album, which people talk about being released, 20 years, 30 years after it was made. It was always a demo album, really, for songs that never got recorded, but it had a sort of a charm about it, through all the, the scrappiness and the mistakes. It still had a charm about it. So those of you that have that record always tell me how much they like it. I don't know how it would sound on vinyl. I'm not really quite sure, but you never know. One day maybe it'll come out. Anyway, this is from that. Ugly and Cruel. Lies coming true, and split into pieces, and you with the glue, and covered in folds, hidden in clothes. Your mind is so young, your face is so old. When I woke up, I always looked down. I never won when you were around. Opposites meet, but when we repel, the splinters of lust bear me to hell. Newspaper ink all over my hands. The moon is so close, the astronauts land. But here in my head, There's ruin and pain, simplicity lost again and again. Hands that can't wave, eyes that can't weep, blood that won't rush, head that won't sleep. This mind that is numb, a blade that won't cut, ice that won't melt, it can't hurt enough. Yesterday, nothing to say, vicious and vivid, still nothing to say. The light switch stays off as the nighttime comes on. I just can't imagine how I'll get along. Always look down, I never won when you were around. Opposites meet when we repel, the splinters of lust bear me to hell. Hands that can't wave, eyes that can't weep, blood that won't rush, head that won't sleep. The light switch stays off as the nighttime comes on. I just can't imagine how I'll get along. Just can't imagine. I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine how I'll get along. It's kind of stranger with no visible audience doing more melancholy things than it is doing more up-tempo things, because there's kind of this vibey joy, you know, you can sort of go, ah, yeah, hoo-ah. But when you're in melancholy land, it's kind of like you're just left with yourself, you know. It's a funny feeling. Okay. Let's do something a little bit more up-tempo. I'm going to put capo on the guitar. I don't know how other artists do it. Whenever I've seen Suzanne Vega live, I always really liked Suzanne Vega, always. She came to the archive once when it was in Penzance. She's very New York. But whenever she's moving the capo around on her guitar, taking it off or putting it on, she never tunes it, like it's just in tune every time. I don't know, maybe she's got a very posh guitar. She's kind of one of the surprise hit folkies, but I guess it's all because of Tom's Diner and Luca. You know, a song about child abuse being a big hit is really something. Bit of a fret error. Okay, this is a little bit more up-tempo, but it's still got some kind of despair in the lyrics, just in case you were wondering. This is on one of those albums, but I don't know which one. After the party, with wine in your hair, there's a shot in the dark, so you fall in despair. And you've chipped your tooth, so you whistle when you speak. And there's tunes in your head till the end of the week. The feast in your hair is up to a swing, but whoever you touch, you don't feel anything. So you brush off the cobwebs that seal you up to get past the part with the crack in the cup. And it's farewell Saturday, love tomorrow, waits the next day for the fine sanctuary, for there's unkept promises, crimes and jealousies. Waits the next day for the fine sanctuary. Then a slice of the silence remains on the bed as the hue of the sun whispers heat to the dead. And the glow won't wash off when you're already gone, and you lock all the doors where the silence just shone. A sip of green poison that jades your blood till the blue of your veins turns as brown as the mud. The continental shift in your earthquake heart, it isn't a cure, but at least it's a start. And it's farewell Saturday, love tomorrow, waits the next day for the fine sanctuary, for there's unkept promises, crimes and jealousies. Always the next day for the fine sanctuary. 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 Thank you. I hear you cheering and dancing in the aisles. My version of Swifties. The word fascism has been thrown around a lot recently. Matthias, who's here, he's from Argentina, and his family knows about that because they had that going on in the 70s, 60s and 70s. Oh, yeah. So his dad will know all about that. You know, Chile and Pinochet and all that stuff. And I wrote a song about the Chilean, I guess you say it in English, Chilean singer Victor Jara, who was murdered by the fascists. Apparently they smashed up his hands and threw his body in an alleyway because he was speaking the truth. So this is for him. I actually went to visit his grave. Song for Victor Jara. His wife was actually English, Joan Jara. She wrote a book about it all. I once performed this song for Chilean audience in Sydney. I had the song translated into Spanish and then recited it as a poem and then sang it in English. So everybody in the audience knew who Victor Jara was. It was quite a moving moment. If these walls could speak of the things that you done behind metal doors, the beast you've become with your pliers and chains and the gun in your hand, but I'd rather die than to kneel in the sand, hear my sound, sing aloud. Hear my sound. History will condemn you, I know. For my blood is wine, though my agon is slow, and every scar that you tear in my face is a river of life for the whole human race. Hear my sound, sing aloud. Hear my sound. Hail the light, hail the kiss of your fist. I am laughing, crying out loud as you break in my wrist. You will live in fear, because there's thousands like me, and dare you see me die with my dignity. Hear my sound, sing along. Hear my sound, sing along. Hear my sound. Thank you. I can play play lead guitar on this guitar. 10 strings. You know, like rock bands do. Okay. How about up-tempo song of melancholy? This could have been written in the 50s, I think. I always feel some of my songs that if they'd been written in in a certain era, then they would have been more popular. I don't know if that's because I'm influenced by an era or two, and I like that era and sort of, you know, perhaps like High as a Kite is an example of that. I think if that had been released in 1978, then more than the people who are here today would probably dig it. But it's not sour grapes, it's just a fact. This is a song which I've done live a few times, but I haven't done it for quite a long time. So I hope I get the chords right. Okay. This is Love You Never Had. I kind of imagine the Everly Brothers doing it. When they were talking to each other. I take my place in line to be alone. There are millions in front of me, I know. But every single action of the ultimate attraction, you can pretty much depend on going cold. Write a letter, sprinkle it with stars. Enthusiastic lovers don't go far. They fall and you can't catch them. At least though you can match them. Everything's worth less when it's been sold. And if you recognize the cadence of a tune and the perfume of your lover makes you swoon, and suddenly you're spinning in the room, and you wake up on the sofa feeling sad as you think of all the love you never had. If you ever want to fall in love again, you know it isn't if, it's only when. On an unsuspecting corner with nobody to warn you, and you know it fails 12 times out of 10. And wounded once again, you struggle home. But somehow you just know you'll be alone. So welcome to the war that never ends. Confusion is the message that it sends. If you sacrifice your lovers or your friends, and you really start to think you're going mad, you think about the love you never had. really start to think you're going mad as you think of all the love you never had. Wow, thump as your fist descends on to the wood. Cut as your knife is swallowing my blood. Can't I can't white tear slipped out of my eyes on to a plate glass, shattered by the anger of our hate. I can't ever risk an openness, never risk an openness, never risk an openness with you. Fell out, wandered like a lost heart in a ring. Bells losing sight of Jesus as he sings. Can't risk an openness, never risk an openness, never risk an openness with you. I can't ever risk an openness, never risk an openness, never risk an openness with you. And if I did, if I dare, I can't ever risk an openness, never risk an openness, never risk an openness with you. I can't ever risk an openness, never risk an openness, never risk an openness with you. I can't ever risk an openness, never risk an openness, never risk an openness with you. I can't ever risk an openness, never risk an openness, never risk an openness with you. I can't ever risk an openness, never risk an openness, never risk an openness with you. Thank you. God, the time's flying by, actually. Funny. I thought time only flew by when you were having fun. I'm going to do a cover now. Somewhere in here. Yeah, there it is. That page stays there. Fred Neil, you know? You know him, right? I was actually listening to Tim Buckley today. That's going to be the album of the day today. Today is going to be Goodbye and Hello by Tim Buckley, 1967. Just great. The lyrics. Because, you know, he co-wrote the record with, well, I don't know if it's all the songs, but he used to co-write with this guy, Larry Beckett. And I guess Larry Beckett wrote those amazing words to Song to the Siren, which, of course, you know, Cocteau Twins, was it This Mortal Coil? Did a version of Elizabeth Fraser. And, of course, Elizabeth Fraser was involved with Jeff Buckley, wasn't she, or something, before he died? How tragic, the whole thing. Tragic.
Wasn't that Joan?
What?
Joan.
What?
Joan as a policewoman.
Yes, as well. He was, I think Joan as a policeman was, of course, in some kind of, had some kind of relationship with him, but there was some kind of relationship with Elizabeth Fraser as well. They were probably grooving on each other's voices. Joan was another woman. Angie Dickinson, Policewoman. You ever watch that? Policewoman. Wow. Angie, what was her name? Pepper? Pepper was her first name? Can't remember what her second name was. Pepper Anderson, was it? Pepper something? So, apparently Fred Neil went, at some point, left the music business and went and worked with the Dolphins. So this is Dolphins. This old world may never change the way it's been, and all the ways of war can't change it back again. I've been searching for the dolphins in the sea, and sometimes I wonder, do you ever think of me? I'm not the one to tell this world how to get along. I only know the peace will come when all hate is gone. I've been searching for the dolphins in the sea, yeah. And sometimes I wonder, do you ever think of me? You know, sometimes I think about Saturday's Child and all about the time when we were running wild. I've been searching for the dolphins in the sea, and sometimes I wonder, Do you ever think of me? This old world may never change. This old world may never change. This old world may never change. I've been searching for the dolphins in the sea, yeah. And sometimes I wonder, do you ever think of me? I've been searching for the dolphins in the sea, and sometimes I wonder, will you ever think of me? This old world may never change. This old world may never change. This old world may never change. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to do a couple of crazy things now. One is put the capo on the 4th fret. In fact, and play a song I very rarely played, but everybody seems to like. I guess it might be the lyrics. The psychedelic lyrics. This is from In Reflection, and I don't know if you can see behind, well, directly behind me, you probably can't see it, is the tape recorder by the door there. That's the tape recorder I made that album on. It's a 4-track TIAC. This is the album where I was hitting the Sydney Morning Herald as a snare drum, because those were the days. I think Olivia's gone to get the Sydney Morning Herald. Oh my God. This is extremely unplanned, mind you. Can you see it there? Can you see those? There's something in front of it. What's the thing in front of it? Oh, there's that. There's the black thing. You see those reels on there? That is a TIAC 3440 4-track, which I recorded In Reflection on at Sir Thomas Mitchell Road in Bondi Beach in the 80s. And it still works, and I still got it. And, you know, it was just a time of great creativity and just doing what you had to get your ideas down, and hitting the Sydney Morning Herald with a drumstick was the way I had to do it. I remember there was a remote control which it only dropped in to record when you were holding the record button and press the play button. So because I was playing the guitar at the time, what I did was took my shoe and sock off, put my big toe on the record button, and put it on, I pressed play, and then when it came to the spot where I had to drop in, I pressed my big toe down on the record button, and that dropped me in at the right place. Yeah, those were the days. But now, everybody's got, sophisticated studios in their front rooms. Somehow, though, they don't come up with better music. It's ironic, isn't it? Okay, let's give this a go. Okay, here we go. Looking on 1,000 garments worn by priests on summer days, shallow pools of milky summer ripple past in different ways. Facts or trickles, untrue words spilled, gleaming dust on dimpled lands, tables full of glossy fruits with fingerprints from dirty hands. How can minutes whisper when clocks are always loud? The afternoon gets crisper, a ginger witch of our fuselage. How can I be growing when the sea has not returned? If the sky's not snowing, a ginger witch of our fuselage. Cooler than the secret planet, fences separate the hills. On she goes and bends the trenches, kills the colonel with her spells. Glassy nights have turned to thrillers, frightening the broken black, streamlined like the best of killers, elbow twisted in a sand. Must I sell our water when creamy face inspired? The coffee clowns are worried sick, the ginger witch of our fuselage. Plan the reconstruction, evacuate your face, estimate the damage caused. Ginger witch of our fuselage. She tried, 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 she looking on 1,000 garments worn by priests on summer days, shallow pools of milky summer ripple past in different ways. Cooler than the secret planets, fences separate the hills. On she goes and bends the trenches, bends the colonel with her spells. How can minutes whisper when clocks are always loud? The afternoon gets crisper, a ginger witch of our fuselage. How can I be growing when the sea has not returned? If the sky's not snowing, a ginger witch of our fuselage. Must I sell our water when creamy fates inspired? The coffee clowns are worried sick, a ginger witch of our fuselage. Plan the reconstruction, evacuate your face, estimate the damage caused. A ginger witch of our fuselage. She tried, 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 she Okay. Well, just a couple more for you. The first of these is going to be a new song. A song I've never done before. So I kind of hadn't played it for a long time, so I was kind of making up the chords as I went along. So not quite sure how this one's going to go. To tune up. The thing with this one is, you know, I've been talking about the Mystery Project. Well, this is nothing to do with it. This is kind of a song which might make an album of new material for 2026, whereas the Mystery Project will go into 2025 and the beginning of 2026. So new songs are on the way, but they're still in the writing stage, and the Mystery Project will come out first. So this one is called Comeback Dreamer. Past 3, the darkness seems to follow me around here. The clouds have moved across the sun. Seems that I've become undone since I came here. I fell into a jewelry store, crashed right through onto the floor like a diamond. Surrounded by those dazzling gems, I heard the sound of rousing hymns and chiming. I broke my own heart, I tore it apart. For me to go, now the branches have refused to grow around me. The sweeter flowers have graced these shores, but now I'm looking for something more to confound me. Ideas flourish on the bone, where solitude is not alone and weeping. Trepidation fuels the fear, too scared to make it close to here where we're sleeping. I cut my own hair, hung it over a chair. Come back, dreamer, give me everything I need. I cause my imagination I just have to feed, like a hungry animal in a forest of dead moons. I am scraping, shaping for the essence of a tune, yeah. Blood and kisses leave your lips. I'm losing count of all the tips you gave me. The one about the squirrel tail and the one that's guaranteed to fail, you can show me. And finally when the question comes, you turn your eyes towards the sun for shelter. they're lying in the baking sand. I feel the sweat on the back of my hand. I can't help her. It goes right through my teeth like the wind and heath. Come back, dreamer, give me everything I need. My imagination, I just have to feel like a hungry animal in a forest of dead moons. I'm scraping, shaping for the essence of a tune. Yeah. Dead moons, I am scraping, shaping for the essence of a tune. Evening burrows like a worm into the light, undo shadows in the silence of the night. Come back, dreamer, and replenish all my sins. On my complex journey from outside to within. Yeah! Thank you. Okay, so we're going to do one last song with Matthias playing guitar and Olivia playing the mandolin and me just singing. So thanks very much for coming. Feel free to donate millions of dollars to the cause. Thanks, Matthias. And I hope you kind of enjoyed sort of a different version of the live stream, kind of doing it a different way. You know? Okay, here they come. Thanks for taking my Coca-Cola out of my hand, Matthias, so I could read the lyrics for this for that build-up verse at the end of the new song. So there'll be a Q&A after this, if you wish to stick around, where we'll be talking about Coldplay doing a cover of White Spots on My Jupiter Finger, Jupiter Blue on My White Shirt for the next album. So, Nico is my partner in the Moat project. I haven't heard from him for ages. He's so busy all the time with the Weeping Willows, not the Weeping Willows, Weeping Willows, who's a pretty massive band in Sweden and Finland, I think. This is a song from the Poison Stream album. We did one last month, Ballad of Sweet Marie, and oh, thank you. And I don't get to do this very often because Nico wrote the guitar parts on this, and it's tricky to sing and play at the same time. But Matthias has learnt it so that we can do this tune, and Olivia's going to play the mandolin. Gone by Noon. Thank you very much for today, but we're going to stick around if you've got any questions about Rickenbackers and obscure 70s heavy rock albums. And say goodbye to Matthias, because he's going back to Argentina on December the 4th. Yeah, so muchas gracias por todos.
Muchas gracias a vos.
Yeah, tú eres un hombre muy cool.
Vos también lo sos.
Okay, here we go. Gone by Noon. The blood on your lips drips, red honey slips into a pool. The lies that you tell corrupt my heart, in fact my soul. Silence spills like a wave in the dark. The films you play, black and white, a final scene, crying, and you're gone. The shock in your eyes lies the wailing cries of a tragic fool. Your game hides the truth. Dice playing cards mirrored in the roof. You cheat with the best. When you're caught, you're aloof. An avalanche that seals the silent shroud. The noise is gone. All that's left, speechless, an empty shell. Falling down from your cheek. The loaded words ricochet around the room. Exotic birds against the glass. Goodbye, gone by noon. Thank you. Stick around for Q&A. Nice work. Groovy lyrics about Comeback Dreamer. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It's coming. I only started thinking about playing that song this afternoon. I didn't even really know what key it was in or what the chords were. I just sort of saw it in my lyric book and I went, maybe I could play that one. And I just started playing it, and I don't even know if that's how it actually goes. But it's something like that. It's one of those songs that kind of works. Some songs are kind of like an effort, but that one just kind of like flows out. And it's, even if I wasn't doing it how I originally wanted it to be, it just kind of like flew out like that without much effort. So that's why I thought I should just take it on, because it was being helpful to me.
Noelia says, Poison Stream was a great company and emotional comfort for me during the pandemic lockdown.
Oh, thanks. Great, thank you. Yeah. I really enjoyed that record. I really enjoyed writing the lyrics for that record because it sort of had some deep, profound, emotional quality to it. I don't quite know how else to put it, but whenever I sing the words from that record, I always feel like, oh yeah, I was tuned in then. Yeah, hit me with some questions, or some observations, or some, but not criticisms. The world's got too much of that going on already. I got this great philosophy: if you don't like it, tune out. Seth Mitchell. Hi, Seth.
Asks, what song should I learn on the election?
What, I mean, from the history of music. What does he mean? Of my songs. Which song? What? Gone by. Well, that's
a good one.
I don't know. What do you mean? From what selection of songs? Do you mean from songs that I wrote, or from songs the X band wrote, or from the song all the other X bands I was in, or do you mean Van Halen? Eruption. That's what we should learn.
Who is Otto Pert? Is that your real name? Otto Pert?
Otto Pert.
Yeah.
Is that Arvo Pert's brother?
Well, I don't know if this is a nickname. You often don't know with these people here. Who are you, Otto Pert? But Otto Pert asks, do I see a Silver Sparkle Duo jet?
Well, you mean this? It's a Gretsch, and it says there. What does that word say there?
Whoa. I get it. No. Wait a minute.
Synchro.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Synchromatic.
Synchromatic. It's a Gretsch. Synchromatic. I don't know. I bought it secondhand off the internet when I was in Texas. It was kind of really reasonable price, and it looked great. And it's, I don't know. It's kind of cool. I haven't really used it yet. I haven't really used it on a record yet. But what I find is that it's like Mike Campbell said. Guitars, the special guitars, they're like, it's like ingredients, it's like spices. You use a certain guitar for a certain thing, and something that this is going to work on, the Ricky 12 isn't going to work on. So I just like to sort of sometimes get hold of surprising guitars and just seeing what they do. And if I was a millionaire, I would have 200 guitars. Not because I'm an indulgent bastard, but because it'd be like different spices. It's like a chef. It's like a chef. He has a store full of spices for different flavors, and that's how I see my guitars.
Okay, Seth says probably your songs, all projects, maybe not.
On electric, what would you learn on electric? Gosh, that's just, I mean, you know,
Murray.
that's like that could be that could be. I mean, I know. What about grind? That's a good one because you could learn do 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 do, and then the descending thing and the D minor and everything. It's kind of a good electric song. Yeah, grind. Start with that one. It's kind of straightforward, but sounds a bit trickier than it actually is, and it's got great dynamics. So that's a good one.
Sue asks, what song do you find hardest to remember?
What song do I find hardest to remember? It's funny because like Feed Your Mind, which has got thousands of verses, I just remember that, always remember that. Melody, the Rain, lots of words, I always remember that. Grind, actually. Grind is always, for some reason, I mean, obviously, I didn't write the lyrics to that one, but I didn't write the lyrics to Tristesse either, but I always remember, there's lots of words in Tristesse, but I always remember the words to Tristesse. Grind, I haven't quite got my head around. There's loads of words in Hopes and Fears, but I always remember it. I don't know. The song that's kind of floating in and out of the live set, which I don't remember the lyrics the best, is Grind. So that's a task to be. What's the word? Challenge. That's a challenge for the new year.
Michelle says, Marty, The Cure's last album happened in 2008, just like Nightjar, but they have a new album now, so you only have a month left to release a new one.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what The Cure have been doing, but I mean, I guess they've been running around the world playing stadiums and earning millions and millions of dollars. I don't know. Maybe Robert Smith feels like he's said it all. But what I find is that, I mean, with me, obviously, I've made lots of different projects. I've done a lot of different things since the last album under my name of new material. But it doesn't mean, I mean, like Moat and, you know, for example, and others. I don't know why those guys like Robert Smith aren't making records more often. Imagine the skills he has and the ideas and the budget, you know, and the time. But I intend to have a new album written in the coming months. But the Mystery Project will be released first, and that's going to be throughout next year and into the early stages of next year. I know I'm being really vague and mysterious, but I will give you an update on that very soon in January.
Sue also asks, or says, tell us more about this new album.
Which one? The Mystery Project or the new album that is not made yet? Because of the Mystery Project, if you want to know about the Mystery Project, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait another month to know about that. As far as new songs album, I kind of have a stack of demos. Not proper demos, just, you know, loose demos, what I call loose demos, written. But I don't have them on the computer or anything. I just have to go through them and get them onto the computer as better demos. And then try and get a selection of songs that I like and see where we are, get in the studio with a drummer and a bass player and see where we are.
And Scott says the new song was my favorite of the evening.
Ah, great. Does that mean all the others are crap?
Noelia says, when and how did you know about Victor Jara?
Oh gosh. I don't know. I've just known about him for years and years and years. I read Joan Jara's book, and I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that because I don't remember how I know. It's like, how do I know about Vladimir Vysotsky? You know, I just know about Vladimir Vysotsky. I have records by him. He's sort of a crazy Russian who made some amazing records. I don't know. It's I'm always investigating records and artists, whether they're old, forgotten South American artists or new bands from Manchester. I just kind of stumbled across things. You might have seen in the blog yesterday, I posted album of the day was Orangutan. What the hell is that? I just stumbled across it and thought that's cool.
Luke says, Coldwell, cheeky personal question, but did my Christmas card arrive yet?
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. And what I would like you to do, Luke, is you see this thing on the back, you've done this clever thing on the back. Send me that as... Can you turn that into an in-deep Christmas card? JPEG or whatever it should be. So I can send it out to people as a in-deep Christmas card. Because that's really cool. But I need a digital version of it so I can put it on a mailing list and say Happy Christmas from us down here in Portugal. But thank you. Yes, got it.
Sue says, yes, the new one you haven't done yet. So yeah, answer that.
Yeah, I kind of answered that, I think. Yeah.
Peter Bryce asks about UK gig possibilities, and Anastasios Morales asks about Australian gig possibilities.
Yeah, well, gigs. It's I would be gigging much more, but it's like America. I would love to go to America and do big, long tours, but I don't have an agent and don't have a work permit, so it's kind of hard to find an agent. And Boydie's been putting on the UK gigs for us, and it's been fun. It's been a few people, 100 people in London, and just kind of small little crowds in other towns, which I don't mind. I don't mind going to Leek and Bristol and places where there's just, not that many people, but the people who come are kind of enthusiastic. I don't know. I guess it's like Juancho, who's put on a couple of gigs in Spain. He said that the next gigs you probably want to do it with an album out, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe records have to be out and available to sort of justify going on a tour, so that the tour is supported by something. So I don't know. I'm open to suggestions if anybody wants to offer me something. Or Australia, it's just so far to get there, and it's so expensive to get there. And if you get there and you pull 100 people, it just doesn't pay for it, So you kind of got to... It's all about budgeting, unfortunately. We need the plans to Captain Kirk's or Scotty's matter transmitter, so we can just go dunk, and suddenly we're in Balmain.
A few comments. Rob McQuarrie says loose demos means snippets, and
No, they're more than snippets. A snippet would be, okay, he's trying to say that that's what I say about other people, right? But the thing is, a snippet is not a completed idea. A loose demo is a finished idea, not properly demoed. That's a different thing.
Another session here, Bob, is also trying to be funny. Says, don't ask him about Oasis.
Don't ask me about Oasis, no. Whatever you do, don't ask me about Oasis.
And Luke says, will do, consider it done.
Ah, cool. Thank you, Luke.
Sue says, how's the tea supply going?
Oh, the tea supply or the teeth supply? Good, because Blueburst Craig brought some over, and Boston, session near Boston, Bob brought a load over, which is really great. So it's still, but anybody that ever comes here should always bring it, because even if I have 5 years supply, it's going to get drunk, you know. But at the moment we're okay. The problem is with getting it here is you have to get it from Germany or somewhere when they got it in stock, and then it's twice the price as it is in America, and then you've got to have it posted, and then, you know, it just ends up being really expensive. Whereas if you get it in America and bring it over and put it in one of the, like Craig and Bob did, they put it in one of these, what do you call it, vacuum packs, take it out of the boxes, put it in the vacuum packs, and then you can bring loads of them over, and it doesn't cost that much to buy a few boxes. So anybody that's coming, please bring Tension Tamer. Celestial Seasonings, Tension Tamer.
Noelia responded saying, thanks for the answer. It is surprising to me, this is the Victor Jara question. It is surprising to me because there was no internet when you wrote that song about Jara, and you hadn't come to South America yet at that time.
Yeah, but I'm a reader, you know. I was always a reader. So I was always a reader and always a record buyer. So I probably bought the record somewhere, found the record somewhere, and oh, that looks interesting. And then I sort of like, then I somehow found out the story, and then I read Joan Jara's book. So yeah, you know, I mean, there was a time, you know, before the internet when you could find things out about the world.
The mysterious Octopet asks, what does MOTE mean? Why all caps? Is it an acronym?
Yes.
That's it. It is secret. It is an acronym.
Yes. It is an acronym.
See you, please.
But don't make up something rude.
See you, please. I don't know who that is. Says, what's the local music scene like in Porto?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not really, you know, it's as, you know, as far, I mean, I do know a couple of guys who are in band, 2 or 3 guys in bands here, in cool groups. But the thing is, mainly, what I found with the world is it's either punk or hip hop or metal. And, you know, I got nothing against punk or hip hop or metal, just because that's just people's taste, of course. But the kind of music that I like by choice isn't punk, hip hop or metal. And I don't see a lot of that here. Whatever is missing from those 3 styles, I don't see a lot of it here. You're not going to go and see a psychedelic band here, or a indie band, or a folk band, or or a harmonies band, or 70s influence band, or a 60s influence band. It's like punk, hip hop, metal. Those are the 3 things which have captivated, unfortunately, captivated the youth, you know, and the youth drives everything. So a guy like me who's 66, trying to tell people how great, you know, something from the 60s, or trying to tell people how great Stackridge are, it's not going to be accepted as a direction for people to go investigating. But if it's punk, if it's hip hop, if it's metal, then they're on, you know.
Peter Parrott's new album?
I haven't played it yet. I've got it right here, but I've been so busy that I've got it sitting right here below me, and it's high on my list of the next thing to play. I haven't got to it yet, but I'm a massive fan. I saw them live in London in like 1978, and I've met Peter a couple of times. I jammed with him once actually. He's a lovely guy. I was a night porter at a hotel in Manchester when the only ones came in and stayed there, and I was making him sandwiches when I was like 19. Peter and Zena, who was his wife, who was still together. So I was talking to them, and I was talking to Jamie, his son, their son. They're all super cool people, and Peter Parrott's amazing. He's just such a great songwriter, such a great lyricist, and that voice, oh my lordy lord. I love Peter Parrott, and the reason I haven't played it yet is because I want absolute attention. You know, I want no lights, no phones, no open doors, no needs, no pending meetings. I want like all this freedom to listen to it, and and then put it on again, because I'm sure I'll listen to it many times. He told me before he released it. I met him in Portugal when he came and played a gig here. He told me before he made it. He said, "I'm really happy about this new album. It's going to be really great. I'm really, really happy about it." So he's really happy about it too, as well as the fans. So I'm sure I'm going to really like it.
Luke Dempsey asks, what's the funniest incident that springs to mind when you think about Richard Klug?
The time I was sitting on the toilet in a cubicle, which was kind of strange. It was in the dressing room, and the toilet, it was like one of those, it was like a cubicle, but it was kind of long. So the toilet was at the end of the cubicle. I don't know why it was long, but I was sitting on the toilet, and Richard was trying to manipulate the lock to get into the toilet to hassle me, right? And finally he broke in, and he opened the door, and I'm sitting on the toilet, and it was like, "Okay, Richard, now what?" And he was like looking at me like, "Yeah, I don't know."
I suppose this is Kevin, because it says church discography. Will your old demos with Martin Rössel ever get officially released?
Good question. I mean, maybe the songs could get recorded. The demos are kind of quite dated with the drum machines and stuff. They're very kind of rock. But a couple of the songs did get released. I mean, I Can't Cry was one of the demos I did with Martin Russell, and that song was, as you probably know, recorded by Charlie Sexton, and I recorded it on Spirit Level. But I always say it was recorded by Bob Dylan's a guitarist, because that just sounds way cooler. I'm sure Charlie's a cool guy in his own right. Yeah, I think there's a couple of others that were recorded that were from those sessions. Maybe Kiss You to Death. That got recorded. That's one I did with Martin. Those two songs I actually wrote myself. The rest of them were kind of co-writes. But there's like 20 songs, yeah. There's some great ones. In America, there's one called In America. There's one called Only You Can Stop the War. It's probably appropriate now. We should sort of dig that one out and have a look at the lyrics, and it might be worth releasing.
Sue asks, have you heard Grace Cummings yet? She's amazing.
No, I haven't. Send me a link.
And Noel asks, if you hadn't have gone to Australia the first time, would you have sought out a career with the band over here in England?
Yeah, I would have joined Echo and the Bunnymen with Will Sargent, and they would have had two guitarists.
Michelle says, I am always wondering if your favorite live church songs, just as Grind Into My Hands, Almost With You, are simply the ones you love the most, or if you were their main composer?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I don't have to have written it to enjoy playing it. I mean, obviously, I wrote the riff to Tristesse, and it was a co-write. But I didn't write into my hands, for example. But I did play the arpeggio. It's like I didn't write. Say that factor you play is driving fast. You take this is it. The closer you get, the deeper you go, the tighter the net looks to me. I didn't write that one, but I really always enjoyed playing the guitar part on it. I don't have to be the writer. I liked when I was presented with a song and had the opportunity to interpret it from a demo and put my own, style into it. No explanation. I don't know. I don't know if maybe I didn't write that one either, but that was very 12-stringy, So, yeah, it's always great to play guitar on somebody else's song if it's a great song and you can really contribute. So I'm as much a musical collaborator as a singer-songwriter in my own right.
GJL says, Peter Perrett's album is fantastic. Do you have any memories of playing in Scotland after the Duran Duran tour?
I do a little bit. Every time I talk like that, people say I sound like a South African from Pakistan. Yeah, vaguely. But, I was 21 or 23 or something, and probably stoned. I got vague memories of Bannockburn, but only very vague.
Sue says, Casey wants to know if you repair your own guitar.
No, I do not. I have George Fonseca, who's a luthier here, who's amazing. And if I ever have a problem with a guitar, I take it to him, and he always does an amazing job. He's really done great work with my guitars. All my guitars are in top nick these days, well looked after and play really well. I just found a crack in the body of my Seagull 12-string, and I showed it to him, and he said, yeah, when you've done your next gig, although I didn't end up using it today, bring it in and he'll fix it. He says it's fixable, but he's got to glue it and put it in a clamp and stuff like that. But he's amazing. He's done great things to my guitars, and his skills are beyond my knowledge, and it's great to have an expert looking after the guitars.
Luke Dempsey asks, did Julianne really replace your electric guitar with her own on This World?
I don't know. I never heard that. I never heard that story. I doubt it.
And Sue also asks, is there an instrument you still want to learn or gave up on?
Well, I guess it's too late for me on the piano, but it would be a great songwriting tool. Whenever I see Beatles things, and I see, McCartney and Lennon writing songs on piano and also writing songs on guitar, I think it's a great songwriting tool, the piano, which I wish I had in my armory, but I don't. It's just kind of passed me by. But if I was, I don't know. I don't want to make it all about age, but I wish that I'd played piano and guitar from teenage years on, and I would have written a whole lot of different kinds of songs, because it's good to write different kinds of songs. That's the thing about the guitars as well. I have different guitars because every time I pick up a different guitar, I write a different song. If you have the same guitar, you kind of write that guitar's song. It's like a guitar has it's like a bag of goodies, and inside there's all these flavors, and you can get them out from that guitar. But then when you put that down and pick up another guitar, it's got a whole different bag of flavors in it, and so it's kind of inbuilt. It's like the guitar has inbuilt songs. I know you'll say, well, wait a minute, aren't you writing the songs, not the guitar? Sure, but it's a symbiotic relationship. And I think the relationship between writing songs and the guitar you're writing it on, it's important. That's why 80s music sounds like it does, because nobody was writing it on a 1971 Gibson Dove. You know, it's just people were using technology to write songs, which is how Gary Newman wrote, you know, Our Friends Electric. So, you know, different instruments inspire different styles and different kinds of songs. And to get back to your question, if I could learn to play the piano, I would write different kinds of songs, which would be a great thing.
She also says guitars are so transportable too.
Yeah.
Church discography. ASCAP has a song called Big Country by Travel Strings, with you named as the writer.
Yeah.
What do you remember of this?
Yeah, that's a song. That's a Marty and Martin song. Big Country. It's a song It's a song I wrote with Martin Russell. Yeah.
The red guitar says humidify those acoustics in the winter, but he doesn't know that we are in Porto and that there is no heating and that it's damp.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a problem really. This room seems to be a great level temperature. It's not too hot. It's not too damp. It's just seems nice for the guitars. I think the guitars like living in this room.
We have a meter.
Yeah.
No. What's the one song that you're most proud of writing?
Smoke on the Water. I don't know. It's such a it's such a difficult question to answer, because you know there's great moments. You just kind of stumble across great moments, and then you write them and record them, and you go, oh yeah, that was so cool. Wow, listen to that. I really nailed what I wanted to do there, and it sounds great. And then you move on to something else and you feel the same way. I mean, there's probably, I don't know, you probably should be asking me what songs have I written which I'm ashamed of. But I'm not going to answer that. A, I don't know, and B, I wouldn't answer that anyway. I don't know. It's too hard. I've written hundreds of songs, you know. I've made 100 albums. So, you know, it's kind of hard to pick. Hard to pick. I mean, what would Paul McCartney say? You know.
Rod asks, is Businesswoman about a real-life businesswoman?
I think it is, actually, yeah. I think it is. I think it is about somebody, actually. But I didn't write the lyrics, so you have to ask the lyric writer about that.
GJL asks, you toured with Let's Active and Mitch Easter with the band. Was there any talk of him producing the band?
Not that I remember. I remember him being nice and doing a few gigs with him. And obviously we were aware of his REM connection. But maybe that was the issue. Maybe we didn't want to be associated with an REM connection, because some people saw us a bit REM-like, which we weren't really. But, you know, jangly guitars and Rickenbackers and stuff. But you know, there was talk about us working with Scott Litt, but that didn't happen either, maybe for the same reason.
contribution constitute a writing credit? I don't know what he refers to.
Yeah, which contribution?
Yeah, which song? He also was asking earlier, what about country?
What about country?
I suppose.
What, do I like it?
Normal?
Do I like country? Is that the question? Well, I like Ruby, Don't Take Your Love to Town. I think it's a great song. You know that one by Kenny Rogers? I think it's Kenny Rogers in the first edition, 60s. Ruby, don't take your love to town. I like that song. I always liked anything Lee Hazelwood did. And I like Casey Musgraves, actually. I kind of like some of the things she does. Yeah, there's a couple of new... I love Lucinda Williams. Love Lucinda Williams. I would always buy her records.
Seth also says, gotta look up who played piano on All That Remains. Do you know who?
Oh yeah, that's Andrea Salenius. He played piano on that, yeah. Who was the guy who I work with now. He does all the mixing for me for all the projects I'm involved in. Yeah.
Luke Dempsey asks, what were the biggest culture shocks for you when you left Thatcher's Britain for Oz?
Oh God, I remember getting off the plane. We had to stop over in Kuala Lumpur on the way. The first flight I ever took in my life was to Australia, so that was kind of interesting. And I remember we had to have a one night's layover in Kuala Lumpur, and I remember getting off the plane and the heat. I thought I must be getting heat from the engine, and then I realized, no, that's how hot it was there. You know, that was a real culture shock. That's the first major culture shock, yeah. I mean, outside Europe. I mean, in the 70s, when I went to France and Spain, and there's lots of culture shocks, because growing up in the north of England and suddenly being in Paris, you know, it's like, you know, I guess that's why I always wanted to travel. And when I got to another country, I always thought, wow, this is amazing. It's like where I'm from, except it's got men and women and buildings and cars and cafes and houses, except they call things different things, and the cars are different shapes, and, you know, the girls dress differently. In those days, it wasn't this great global connection, so everybody kind of is... You see people all over the world who kind of, they sort of look the same as each other. But in those days, when you went to France, people looked different. You know, they dressed differently. They had different clothes. The girls in England didn't look like girls in France, just by the clothes they wore. So there was loads of culture shocks from the 70s onwards for me. But of course, leaving Europe, I mean, yikes. Going to Australia, oh my God. You know, beaches and stuff, and blistering sun, and, you know, kangaroos.
See You Please says, is there any album you are most proud of having in the archive?
Is there any album I'm proud of having in the archive? Proud of having? Well, this whole catalogues of records by all kinds of bands, you know. So if Robert Wyatt releases a record, I've got it. I'm really happy to have all of Robert Wyatt's records, or Kevin Ayers or somebody like that, you know, those classic arty, or Van de Graaff Generator, you know, those arty groups. I mean, I have rarities, but there's so many. I like so much music, you know. I mean, you can see. I don't know. You can see the King Crimson album. I've got, you know, if it's King Crimson, Beatles, or early Genesis, or Syd Barrett, or the Floyd, or you know, XTC, or the Only Ones, or I don't know. Some of the Stephen Wilson Porcupine Tree records I really like, but it's hard to answer because I've got hundreds, thousands of albums which are amazing. Alcuin, the Mountain Queen. Oh, I love that record. You can't pick one. You know, I can probably pick 1,000 for you, but not one.
Michael Piotrovich says that's a beautiful rug. It really ties the room together.
Which is?
The carpet there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for liking the rug.
Scott Fields says, I'm hungry. What's for dinner when I'm there in February?
Beans on toast. Can the people hear you asking me the questions? Is that on?
Oh, was it on?
Is that mic on?
This one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It must be because you were using it for the...
Did we turn on when we were?
Oh, no.
Oh.
Now it's on.
Maybe that one picked it up.
Yeah, it probably did.
Yeah. All right.
Beans on toast is the choice of meal.
Sue asks, did your parents influence you music-wise in any way?
Yeah, my parents did influence me music-wise because my dad was a massive Frank Sinatra fan, and my mum was a massive Glenn Miller fan. So my mum went all googly-eyed whenever she heard music and started regressing back to her teenage years and doing this weird dance, like she was kind of not there anymore. She was back in the 40s. And my dad was just in love with Frank. You know, he didn't call him Frank Sinatra or Sinatra. He called him Frank, you know, Frank. But he also loved The Planets by Holst. And he used to play that often on Sunday mornings, really super loud. So, you know, war, Mars, Mars, the bringer of war, you know, shaking the walls in the house. So, yeah, they were big music lovers. But my mum liked all kinds of, you know, Frank Ifield and Frankie Vaughan and all those kind of singers. And my dad liked Nana Muscuri, and I think he liked Melanie as well. But yeah, they were music fans, definitely. They definitely were music fans.
GJL says, how did you enjoy your time in the Saints? Saw you at a great show in Glasgow where Chris introduced you as Cheryl.
Oh, really? Did he? Well, Chris always had a funny sense of humour. R.I.P. Chris. Yeah, it was cool playing with the Saints. It was great. It was I did 65 gigs with the Saints and made an album. That was the thing, you know, about music. I was, you know, the different bands that I'd been in was me sort of breaking out and doing something different. I mean, I could never be in a jazz band because I just can't play jazz, and I could never be in a hip hop band because I don't understand how to do it. But those other styles of bands, I was an anecdote as well, you know. I kind of enjoyed being in different kinds of bands and then making different music myself to the bands I was in. So, yeah, nice to play in a different kind of a group. Yeah.
Graham McLennan says, any ambition to do a soundtrack? Just watched Mysterious Skin and was impressed by Robin Guthrie and Harold Budd's music.
Ah, well, R.I.P. Harold Budd.
Just received a request.
Robin. What?
You've just received a request for a soundtrack.
I have?
Yeah.
From Robin Guthrie and Harold Budd?
No,
Aaron. Oh, yeah, Aaron. Yeah. Yeah, somebody's been asking me about that. You know, I don't know if you heard the Atlantean Flood record. instrumental record that we did, which was a super cool instrumental record. Steve, not the guy whose vision it was, unfortunately died relatively recently, and that would have continued to be a great instrumental project. But that's the first time I'd actually made an instrumental album. I really enjoyed it, but I was just playing. He was kind of coming up with all these chord things, and I was just doing my kind of guitar thing, just playing my Gilmour-esque Strat on songs and coming up with nice little lines and parts. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, the problem for me is I'm not an engineer. I could do anything, but I need an engineer to be sitting there at the desk while I'm doing that anything. And if I had an engineer, then I would be even more prolific than I am now. But the thing is that obviously I'm not Prince, so I can't have an engineer on call 24/7. Hey, I got an idea. It's 6:30 a.m. and I need you to get here now. Imagine having that possibility. Yeah, so I would make soundtrack albums and rock albums and folk albums and work with people, and I'd be doing things all the time if I had an on-call engineer who was available 24/7 and somebody was paying for him to be here. Yeah.
Church discography. Beatles yesterday and today Butcher cover. I suppose that.
Yes. I do have that. I do. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I do have the Butcher cover album, the Butcher album, and it's precious because it's fascinating and quite reasonably valuable, and I guess every music archive wants one of those, and I do have it, but there's hundreds of records that I love having, and there's thousands more which I wish I could have. I'm going to ask Chris Martin to, I don't know why I keep on talking about Coldplay, but I'm going to ask Chris Martin to drop me a couple of million so I can get some more stock in and have an engineer.
The Red Guitar says, thank you for turning me on to so much great music.
Ah, mon plaisir.
And Sue asks, did you get around to watching that interview with Jerry Cantrell?
No, I didn't. And somebody just told me I've got to watch the Rick Beato interview with Dave Gilmour. I haven't got around to doing that either. Yeah.
Luke Dempsey asks, was Tom Verlaine as prickly as he's reputed to be?
Was Tom Verlaine as prickly as he's reputed to be? R.I.P. Tom. He wasn't really prickly. He was kind of... I remember him being nice. He was always nice to me. I remember he gave me a couple of books about French literature in the 30s and 40s. I think he gave me a Verlaine book, Verlaine poetry book. And he gave me a book about the period. And I played on, obviously, one of his albums, uncredited, but I played on The Wonder. He asked me to do that. And he came on stage every night when we toured with him, and he used one of my amps, and we jammed Cortez the Killer, and he taught me how to play Friction exactly right. So he wasn't that prickly with me. Mind you, I met Marky Smith as well, and he wasn't prickly with me either. People say he was one of the kings of prickly, but he wasn't prickly with me at all. I met him when I was with Bricks, but maybe that's why. But yeah, I had a kind of... Although I did meet Tom years later in a Starbucks in New York. I said, "Hey, Tom, smart, how's it going?" He looked at me like, what? He was kind of like vaguing out big time. And finally he sort of went, Marty, hi, man. You know, he was a funny guy. Coffee and cigarettes. When I think of Tom Verlaine, I think of coffee and cigarettes, coffee and cigarettes, coffee and cigarettes.
Church discography. Are there any bowling alleys in Porto?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Bowling alleys? Maybe. I don't know.
And no more questions except to request for more designs on Redbubble. But, you know, you tell them about how much you make.
Yeah, Redbubble is great for people who want to get a design. So we've sort of made it available so people can get something, but it's like, I don't know, we make, what is it?
Like
€7
something on a t-shirt.
Yeah, it's just really, I mean, it cuts all the costs for the buyer and it makes the profit for Redbubble, and it's great for you out there to be able to get some great t-shirt or great design or something. But as far as it being a lucrative business for us, it's not at all. It's just like we make nothing hardly from it.
That's it.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. As I say, feel free to donate to the cause after the live show, and I hope you liked it with this different sort of approach, trying to make it, just keep it interesting, you know, and doing it a different way. Next time it'll be just me and piano.
Playing Moonlight Sonata.
Just Moonlight. I'll just be playing Moonlight Sonata next time. All right. Cheerio, everybody. Thank you for your support, for all your support. I really appreciate it. And I hope to be letting you into the secrets